Let us begin. You do not get a grand entrance. Your story begins as most do, in filth and screaming. The year is somewhere around 642 AD, in a damp, stone fortress overlooking the sun-scorched plains of southern Italy. This is the Duchy of Benevento, a place that exists on maps only as a raw, bleeding edge between empires. Your father is a duke, which is a polite term for the most successful and least dead predator in the region. Your mother is his third wife, a political bargain from another clan whose primary value lies in her ability to produce male heirs. She succeeds just this once. You are born. No one celebrates your arrival. They merely take inventory. Your existence is not a miracle. It is a strategic necessity. You are a spare part for a machine fueled by blood and paranoia. This is your inheritance, this hereditary curse. It is not land or gold, not really. It is a collection of simmering feuds, unpaid blood debts, and the profound, abiding contempt of the people you will one day rule. You have one clear memory from those early years, a fragment that will define the rest of your life. You are 5. Your father and his warband return from a raid against a nearby Byzantine outpost. They are not glorious. They are caked in mud and dried blood, swaying in their saddles from exhaustion. Your father, the Duke, slides from his horse. He has a fresh gash on his cheek, poorly stitched with black thread, and his magnificent long beard is matted with something dark. He doesn't smile or greet you. He simply hands a blood-stained axe to a servant and stumbles toward the hall, his eyes vacant. In that moment, you understand. This is the family business. This is not a choice. This is not a life of honor. It is a long, slow, grinding job, and the only retirement plan is a shallow grave. Childhood officially terminates at the age of 7. There is no ceremony, just an abrupt end to whatever small freedoms you possessed. You are taken from your mother's quarters to the main castle yard, a windswept expanse of packed dirt, splintered wood, and the lingering smell of iron and sweat. This is your new home. This is your school. Your tutors are men with names like Wolfhead and One Eye. They are scarred, joyless veterans whose only remaining skill is the efficient creation of more scarred, joyless veterans. Your education is simple, direct, and brutal. The first lesson is the shield. You are taught that its primary purpose is not to block, but to smash. You spend a week learning to shatter a pig's jaw with the shield's edge before you are allowed to even hold a sword. The second lesson is the spear. It is heavy, clumsy, and you are small. You learn to handle it by carrying it everywhere, for months, until your arms burn with a permanent, deep ache. There is a key moment you will never forget. During a drill, exhausted and clumsy, you drop your spear in the mud. Your tutor, a man whose face is a roadmap of old knife fights, does not shout. He simply walks over, picks up the spear, and with a calm, methodical motion, breaks 2 of your fingers against a wooden post. A man who drops his weapon is already dead, he says, his voice devoid of anger or any emotion at all. He is simply waiting for the dirt to cover him. You do not cry. You have already learned that tears are a currency that buys only more pain. This is the methodology. Failure is not corrected with words. It is beaten out of you, bone by bone. Your individuality, your capacity for empathy, any flicker of childhood innocence, these are not seen as traits. They are seen as fatal defects. They are systematically scoured away. You are taught that the local Latins, your subjects, are little better than cattle. Feeling pity for them is like feeling pity for your dinner. You are taught that trust is the luxury of a fool. He is your most immediate rival. They are the men who will fight over your boots when you fall. You are not being raised. You are being rewired. Your personality is being carefully excavated and replaced with a set of violent reflexes and an all-consuming, gnawing suspicion of every human being you meet. Later, much later, storytellers will invent a myth about you. They will speak of the noble Lombard dukes, the bold, long-bearded warriors who carved a kingdom from the ruins of Rome with courage and a thirst for freedom. This is the gilded lie. It is a beautiful story, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you. Let's talk about the biological reality of your glorious life. First, the hygiene. Or, more accurately, the complete and utter lack of it. Your legendary long beard, the symbol of your people, is a thriving metropolis for lice. It is a repository for crumbs of hard, stale bread and the grease from last night's half-cooked boar. You do not bathe. Water is for drinking and for washing the blood off your spear in that order. The great hall where you hold court smells of stale wine, unwashed bodies, wet dogs, and the faint, sweet odor of rot. Then there is your diet. It is a relentless, soul-crushing monotony of roasted meat, usually gamey and tough. This is served with gritty millet porridge and bread so hard it could be used as a weapon. The only vegetable you consume is the onion, and the only seasoning you know is the ash from the fire and the grit from the millstone. You are perpetually, agonizingly constipated. And your health. You are a walking ecosystem of ailments. Every cut, every splinter, every insect bite is a potential invitation to a slow, agonizing death by infection. You have a constant, low-grade fever from a poorly healed wound you received years ago. The water you drink gives you dysentery twice a year, a violent, humiliating sickness that leaves you weak and trembling. The constant weight of your mail shirt and helmet has given you a permanent, grinding ache in your back and neck. You are not a hero. You are a filthy, aching, parasite-ridden animal, and you are the absolute pinnacle of your society. Years pass in this wretched cycle of survival. Somehow, you do not die. You grow stronger, harder, and more cynical. You become the perfect instrument of violence your father and his thugs always intended you to be. And then comes your moment. The year is 675. Your father finally succumbed to a chest cold that turned into a rattling, wet cough. You are the Duke now. And a rival, a man whose lands border yours to the north, has allied himself with the remnants of the Byzantine garrison at Naples. They have been raiding your borders, testing you. The high stakes are not just about land. They are about survival. You are new. Your own men are watching, gauging your strength. To hesitate is to invite a knife in the back. Your target is a fortified coastal town, a key supply point for the Byzantines. It is considered impregnable. You do not plan a siege. Sieges are for patient men, and you are a creature of brutal efficiency. Your strategy is one of pure predatory cunning. You send a small force to raid a village miles away, a deliberate and obvious distraction. As your rival and his Byzantine allies march out to meet this threat, you and your main warband lie in wait, hidden in the dense woods along the road. The execution is flawless. It is a masterpiece of slaughter. You wait until their column is fully stretched out, disorganized and confident. The signal is a single horn blast. Your men erupt from the trees, a wave of screaming iron. You hit them not at the front, but in the vulnerable, soft middle. The battle, if you can call it that, is over in minutes. It is a massacre. You yourself ride straight for the Byzantine commander, a man in gilded armor who looks utterly surprised to be dying. You take his head with a single, practiced swing of your longsword. The immediate aftermath is a frenzy of plunder and terror. The town, its defenders now a pile of corpses on the road, surrenders without a fight. You strip it bare. Gold, silver, silks, weapons, slaves. You return to your fortress not just as a duke, but as a legend. You are feared, you are respected. You are, for one brief, shining moment, the myth. But the myth does not keep you warm at night. The legend does not stop the gnawing paranoia. Your peak is also your prison. The daily grind is a soul-crushing performance of power. You wake before dawn, your mind already racing, cataloging threats. Who spoke to whom in the hall last night? Why did your cousin praise your victory with just a little too much enthusiasm? You hold court, sitting on a hard wooden throne, dispensing justice. A woman claims her neighbor's pig trampled her herb garden. Two brothers are arguing over the ownership of a single, mangy sheep. You listen to this endless parade of petty misery for hours. You face a mask of stern authority, while all you can think about is the Frankish army massing to the north. Every night, There is the feast. It is not a celebration. It is political theater of the most dangerous kind. You must eat and drink heartily to show your wealth and confidence. You must laugh at the crude jokes of your captains. You must project an aura of absolute, unshakable power, all while knowing that a single moment of perceived weakness, a drunken slur, a moment of distraction, could be the invitation one of your men is waiting for. Society needs you, and it despises you for it. A papal envoy visits your court once, a soft man in clean robes who smells of incense. He speaks to you through a translator, his face a mask of polite disgust. He looks at you not as a duke, but as a particularly large, dangerous dog that must be placated. You are a necessary evil, a barbarian buffer between Rome and its other enemies. Your own laws reflect this. The Edictum Rothari, your people's great legal code, is not a document of justice. It is a price list. And now, you have a son of your own. He is 7. You watch from your high window as your old, scarred weapon master takes him to the training yard. You see the boy flinch as he's handed a heavy wooden shield. You see the cold, dead look in the veteran's eyes. You are not watching a boy being trained. You are watching a soul being systematically extinguished. You are feeding another generation into the teeth of the same machine that consumed you. The unraveling begins, as it always does, on a perfectly ordinary day. You are holding council in your great hall. The air is thick with smoke from the central fire pit. You are tired. You are half drunk. A rival, a duke from the south with clever eyes and a forked tongue, pulls you aside. He speaks in a low, conspiratorial whisper. He tells you that your Gastaldo, the man who has managed your lands for 20 years, the man who taught you how to read a charter, is a traitor. He claims to have proof the old man is selling secrets to the Byzantines. The fatal error is that you listen. The wine, the paranoia, the years of being taught to trust no one, it all comes to a head. You do not question the proof. You do not confront the accused. You act. You stand before your assembled captains, the southern duke's whispers still echoing in your ear. You call the old Gastaldo forward. He approaches, his face filled with a familiar, loyal confusion. You do not give him a chance to speak. You accuse him of treason, your voice booming with a certainty you do not feel. And before anyone can react, you draw your sword and run him through. He falls at your feet, a look of profound, heartbreaking shock on his face. The point of no return is the silence that follows. It is not the silence of your decisive action. It is a cold, dead, heavy silence. In the eyes of your men, you see something new. Not fear, not respect. You see contempt, mingled with a new, calculating fear for you. You have just shown them that loyalty is worthless. You have shown them that service is no protection from the whims of a paranoid, drunken master. You have not culled a traitor. You have murdered your own authority. Later, you discover the proof was a crude forgery. The Southern Duke sends his condolences, his letter dripping with false sympathy. The internal erosion is immediate and catastrophic. That night, the haunting begins. The old man's face, his eyes wide with disbelief, is burned into your mind. You see him in the flickering torchlight, standing in the corner of your chamber. You hear his dying gasp in the sigh of the wind. Sleep becomes a battleground of nightmares. Paranoia, once a tool for survival, becomes your entire reality. Every conversation is a plot. Every shared glance is a conspiracy. Your brother's smile is a mask for his ambition. Your wife's touch is an assassin's caress. You find your anesthetic in the bottom of a wine cask. You begin drinking the moment you wake, seeking not conviviality, but oblivion. The sour, raw wine of the region becomes your only confidant. It dulls the edges of the guilt, but it sharpens your paranoia into a razor's edge. Your new addiction accelerates your destruction. During a feast, deep in your cups, you accuse your own son of plotting against you. You backhand him in front of the entire court, a shocking breach of decorum and kinship. You disown him, screaming that you see the same traitor's look in his eyes. You are no longer a leader. You are a rabid animal, trapped in a cage of your own making, snapping at every hand that comes near. Your world shrinks to the confines of your own skull, a prison more inescapable than any dungeon. Your end does not come in a blaze of glory. There is no final, heroic battle against overwhelming odds. The machine you serve does not grant you a dignified exit. Your final setting is not a battlefield, but a bed. A cold, damp bed in a forgotten chamber of the fortress you can no longer command. Your son, the one you shamed, now rules in your name, making a great show of caring for the ailing duke. You are a prisoner in your own home. The inglorious cause of your death is not a sword wound, but something far more pathetic. It is an infected bed sore. A small patch of broken skin on your back, ignored for weeks, has turned black and foul. The infection has seeped into your blood, and now a raging fever consumes you. Your final moments are a chaotic, humiliating blur. You are racked with shivers you cannot control. Your mind is a swamp of fever dreams, filled with the accusing face of the man you murdered and the contemptuous eyes of your son. You are acutely aware of the smell of your own decay. Your last coherent thought is not of glory or legacy or honor. It is the simple, crushing, pathetic realization that your life has been a meaningless, agonizing ordeal, and now it is over. You die alone, soaked in sweat, your passing marked only by the ceasing of your ragged breaths. Directly after your death, there is a brief, performative mourning. Your son, now officially the Duke, buries you with all the required pomp and circumstance, delivering a stirring eulogy about your strength and wisdom that he does not believe for a second. Then you are forgotten. Your name becomes a footnote in a local charter, another Lombard duke who lived and died. Your brutal life, your suffering, your paranoia, it all dissolves into the indifferent silence of the past. But then, time, the ultimate ironist, decides to play a final, cruel joke. We leap forward 1,200 years to the 19th century. A young, passionate historian, filled with the fire of Italian nationalism, is digging through the archives. He finds your name. He finds a brief, sanitized account of your victory against the Byzantines. And in the echo chamber of his own ideals, he begins to create a myth. He doesn't see a paranoid, filthy, alcoholic warlord. He sees a patriot. He sees a guardian of the Italic spirit, a noble barbarian who fought to keep foreign influence out of the peninsula. Your brutal sack of a helpless town is reimagined as a glorious liberation. Your paranoid execution of a loyal man is omitted entirely. Your entire miserable, brutal existence is polished, sanded down, and reshaped into a heroic statue. Your name is attached to a street in a nearby town. A poet writes a terrible epic about your tragic grandeur. You've become a symbol of everything you are not. And this is the final, sobering truth. The story of your life was not about honor or glory or nation building. It was about pain. It was about filth and fear, and the relentless, grinding misery of a life lived under the boot of a violent system. But a life lived is messy and inconvenient. A story told, however, can be clean, simple, and inspiring. Your agony was just the raw, ugly material for a comforting lie that future generations would tell themselves. You weren't a person. You were just fertilizer for a myth.